人在我有冰淇淋，我喜欢冰淇淋。
Got a bad bitch, 冰心 thick ass that name Ling Ling. Running up a check, ring ring. Icy neck, bling bling. Got a bad bitch, 冰心 thick ass that name Ling Ling. Running up a check, ring ring. I see up to my neck, bling bling. Lost all my credit, thought shit at the pool. You on my rice, no way ain't cool. I got a spell from fucking in school. Ay, yeah, bitch, look, you do not foot. You was a tool, you getting stud. You was a fool, she tryna fuck, nah, I'm cool. Got a bad bitch, 冰心 thick ass that name Ling Ling. Running up a check, ring ring. Icy neck, bling bling. Got a bad bitch, 冰心 thick ass that name Ling Ling. Running up a check, ring ring. I see up to my neck, bling bling.
冰淇淋，我喜欢冰淇淋。
Lighting up blunt, chuck it, chin, we don't start. Go fuck with the phone, my team, we go, huh? Cena, you wanna see me, can't beat me, Beamer. Can't be on the road doing 60, And my bitch doing 50. Got a bad bitch, 冰心 thick ass.
Wait, I didn't know you were playing PoE.
Running up a check, ring ring. Icy neck.
I didn't know you were playing PoE, Roser. What gives?
Running up a check, ring ring. I see up to my neck, bling bling.
I'm not playing PoE, I'm playing Hideout Simulator, yes. That is exactly what that game is called. I agree. Dude, fuck, trading. I loved PoE, like the one time I actually went far in PoE and shit. But hot damn. You gotta like it's like you either spend 3,000 hours in game on like a solo still found hardcore whatever the fuck, and then you're just like a masochist, or you're actually playing the game the way it's meant to be played and like interacting with people and trading with people, and then you spend 1,000 hours in your hideout like trading maps for chaos orbs that you trade for like fossils that you then gamba to craft your fucking equipment that you then ruin because you fucked something else up. Jesus Christ, why isn't my... Dude. My Twitch category is not updating. And my Twitch title is not updating. It's still from the IRL stream. Update settings on Twitch. God damn it. Okay. Let me fix that real quick. I've been literally perma-stuck in Hideout because I've been making bank off of sex stunts. I knew it! See? All you had to say, you're playing Hideout Simulator, I knew right away what you're doing. You're playing the economy game. You're not actually playing the normal game, you're just playing the economy. Hans is kind of like the American Lance Armstrong. Yeah, let's go with that. Edit stream info. Jesus Christ, stop. Done. Oh, butt plugs are conflict with Twitch's moderation policy. I was trying to put butt plugs in my Twitch stream title. Chest regulation. Okay, let's go with this, okay? Okay. There we go. Finally. Change the stream title. Hey, Vanlige, how are you doing? I was gonna say VGets, but that's the wrong language. Let me put chat up since we're chatting. Wait, what's the in Polish it's Shema or Jak Shema, but in Russian, how do you say Otlishno? Like, yeah, is that it? Like, how are you doing? I've been playing the economy since day one, basically. Earlier in the league, I had a fuck ton of currency, but slammed them on a helmet and spent it on fracturing gear. So I didn't outright buy an Aegis to skip most of the game, and then I still ended up buying one. I have... None of those words are in the Bible, Roser. This is a Christian stream. We don't do that. Great? Alright. Let me see. Russia... Just translate. Google Translate. Ah, Cactela. Cactela. That's the one. I've heard plenty of times. Basically, I wasted a lot of currency. Great. Welcome to the stock market. Actual IRL trading experience for you. Hype. All right, let's get some music rolling again. You know what? Let's listen to Kaizo Slumber. Nice. I love the like macOS error sound. Version Veranda when? Dude, I need to ride melon like a ripe melon to actually schedule anything. Okay, this is way too. Okay, that's way too much. Never mind. Let's just play some chill music. Polish is a bit like Russian. I know. It's actually been really fun. I've had those interactions with Russian people, like meeting a Russian person in the subway and talking with them, where like they can speak Russian to me and I can speak Polish to them, and we can actually have a conversation. We like understand each other. It's really cool. I like that a lot. Now, no, we wouldn't have a like philosophical conversation, and you know, like can't convey really complex concepts or whatever. But what's on the docket today? So I wanted to start off with triggering Chinchilla, which I was hoping he would drop by, but he hasn't really been dropping by anyways. You can shitpost IRL basically. Okay, so some of you may or may not have heard about a recent scandal that's been tearing. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. That's been tearing the chess world apart. This scandal is centered around one single person who may or may not have actually cheated. We don't know yet. There are allegations. We are playing. I'm not gonna play Overwatch right now, but thank you for the offer. I needed to say bonsoir. Bonsoir. So, Hans Niemann is suspected, allegedly, perhaps hypothetically, of having cheated. It started off with Magnus Carlsen thinking that he cheated in a game between the two of them. Magnus Carlsen identified if I understand correctly, I'm no like big chess professional. If I understand correctly, Magnus Carlsen identified something specific in the style of play of Hans Niemann, where he could follow complex lines on a like chessbot level, where it was as if a chessbot, like an AI, was playing instead of him. Let me pull up. Jesse, pull up the meme. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, there you go. So that was before, right? That like what I'm just describing is like the past couple of weeks in chess. This problem of let me lower the brightness of the lamps. It's like a bit excessive. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. There we go, much better. Chess star Hans Niemann accused of cheating by rival. French sounds so nice. Foreigners say that Russian sounds rude. They are fucking wrong. Russian is a very beautiful language. How do I get a girl to like me? Let that be the topic of Virgin Veranda. I don't know, dude. Okay, don't derail me. Let's talk about it after. Chester Hans Niemann accused of cheating by rival. Oh wait, that's like a more recent article. Fuck, what was I? Oh yeah, oh, because it was updated 1 hour ago. Never mind. I want to find the... Stop. I want to find the original The original meme from Magnus Carlsen when he got mad at him. Magnus didn't explicitly accuse Hans of cheating in their game, but he heavily implied it. Right. Thank you for the correction. But oh man, I should have. Who doesn't prepare for a stream? God damn it. Let's just get like someone else talking about it. Or Gary Kasparov. That's great. Okay. Let's check out Gary Kasparov. He's pretty based, right?
Carlsen hasn't talked about cheating. He's just talked about it. It's implied, but yeah, but he implied that. So it's implied, and there's a talk. But as for do I have cheating in chess in general and online? Absolutely. So that's what we established pretty good systems, you know, to indicate whether there was cheating or not. As for specific cases that's Magnus alluded to, I was in St. Louis. You know, I spoke to people who were involved directly in this case. I don't see an evidence that could be convincing. And while, you know, I had full understanding of Magnus' decision to drop from the World Championship side, yes. I understand his frustration and just, you know, his the implications, or just, you know, this is his anger about after losing the game, and just, you know, again, finding other reasons than his own poor play in this game to blame for his loss. Well, leaving the tournament is unacceptable. I mean, it's the whatever happened in the game. Even if we had any proof, though again there was no proof. As for the game that Magnus lost and that made the game erased, we have zero evidence in that game, specific game, of any wrongdoings. And I think
I tend to agree. There is definitely something like pretty damn unprofessional in just yeeting out of the game because you're like mad at the other guy. You're like, fuck. I get it. I get it as well from another perspective. Of how, well, like how like are you supposed to? If you're actually really think there's a problem with the game, I can understand not wanting to even play it as well. But you can definitely just play the game and raise concerns afterwards. And if your concerns are correct, then having played the game could lead to proof arising in and of itself. Though, well, as we all know, if cheating was involved, it obviously was vibrating butt plug, and there's no way of verifying that, right?
It was really bad for chess. It was bad for St. Louis. This is how, you know, that's one of the most important tournaments, yes, if not the most important tournament in the world of chess.
Outside of the World Championship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but as a tournament, and I think that his behavior was unacceptable. If you are suspecting somebody cheating at a live tournament, so which means, you know, he or she has access. No, it's not. Look, that's what cheating means in chess. So you have a transmitter that is connected to another person who is working with a machine and submitting, you know, moves to you somehow. Again, that's it. But, you know, the person on the other end needs to see the game, which means that if you have a 15-minute delay, which is now being introduced, delay on transmission. That's, you know, that's
easy. It's always,
yeah, it's not that easy because that means you don't have a public, you know, but still, you know, there are ways to deal with, and
yeah. Hey Frank, how are you doing? If I recall correctly, the security measures were only taken after Magnus withdrew from the tournament. I see. He said, I believe Hans has cheated more recently than he was willing to admit. I think this is too far. Magnus' sportsmanship is pretty much impeccable. I think the problem with his vague posting is caused by potential lawsuits. Well, yeah, you can't just accuse someone of cheating without any proof. That's slander or libel or whatever the fuck you would call it. So this was from a couple days ago, but now there's this new article accusing, where chess.com, the website chess.com, allegedly investigated hundreds of games by Hans Niemann and reported that they have found him to have potentially cheated in those games. Whereas Hans Niemann himself had previously admitted cheating twice in games when he was aged 12 and 16. So chess.com launched an investigation into his games and found, according to their investigation, hundreds of games, or more than 100 online games that they claim Niemann likely received illegal assistance in as recently as 2020. Those matches included contests in which prize money was on the line. So that is definitely very, very, very suspicious. I don't know. I just wanted to cover it mostly because I dropped a banger tweet on it, okay? I dropped a banger take on this, and Chinchilla hated it, but he's dumb. Wait, where's like my own tweets? Oh, there you go. The only solution to the epidemic of cheating in chess is regulation butt plugs. Clearly, this is the only solution to the problem we're facing. How do we stop people from getting secret messages while sitting in front of a chessboard? We need to stop the vibrating anal beads. And how do you stop people from inserting vibrating anal beads into their ass? It's just butt plugs. I unless you have a better idea, a better solution, I only see that one. That's not even the real cheating scandal anyways. What is the real cheating scandal? Anyways, chess talk, but I want to talk about cum and girls. Okay, what is it you want to talk about, Kino? You're still here. Yahoo Sports, my favorite. Lead weights and lie detectors, the scandal that rocked a Cleveland fishing tournament and became worldwide news. Holy shit, now this is cheating in sports. The Cleveland fishing tournament. The walleye that swim in the cold, murky depths of Lake Erie are the water's apex predator. Sleek torpedoes of teeth that dine on shad, minnow, and any other smaller fish than themselves. Blah, blah, blah. They do not, as far as marine science has determined, dine on lead pellets the size of golf balls or precisely trimmed fillet of other walleye. So when Jason Fisher, director of the Lake Erie Walleye Trail Tournament Series, pulled handfuls of lead sinkers and fillets from the bellies of some prize-winning fish, he knew he had a hell of a problem in his hands. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. So I think I understand what's going on here. You got a fishing tournament. You got people releasing some big ass fish into the lake or whatever. Those big ass fish are full of lead pellets, and then you like have a magnet on your thingy to like attract. Is it that? Let's see. Fisher, yes, that's his real surname, was looking forward to the end of the long tournament season, working his way through the catches of the 30 elite 2 angler teams. He weighed the fish of angler after angler, picking up their fish and setting them on a scale. Oh, wait, no, I'm being dumb. No, lead means the fish is heavier. Oh, that's like simpler. That's a lot simpler than what I was thinking. Jesus. Okay. They needed to beat 16.89 total pounds to claim Team of the Year honors and $30,000 in various prizes. Their catch's weight, 33.91 pounds. The silence that greeted Fisher's announcements was the first sign that something was very much amiss. No applause, no cheers, just silence. And then the muttering started. Damn, 33. Okay. Gee, like big ass fucking lead weights. Okay. I imagine that also poisons the fish, right? Because lead is not very good for you. Okay. Anyways. I'm at work right now, but the girl I'm dating bought a night at a hotel/resort this weekend. What does she mean by this? Does she mean sex? Will I come? Wait, okay, I normally wouldn't have to ask this question, but when you say the girl you're dating bought a night at a hotel resort this weekend, did she actually invite you there? Or did she just mention in passing she's going to a resort? You must accept the fuck. Tell her I accept your hole. I will fuck a baby in your hole. That is very, very hot, real Peter Khan. Good sex talk. Okay. Okay, next topic. Has anyone here watched the show Cyberpunk? Has any one of you watched it? I just binged it over the course of the last 2 days. And I must say, I actually enjoyed it. I didn't like it at first, specifically the... I wasn't a big fan of the way the Studio Trigger, like, it's very, very clear they saved a shit ton of money using, like, cheesy animation tricks that I don't know. Once I like start noticing all of those, it breaks my like suspension of disbelief super fast. But anyways, I actually enjoyed it a lot. It's a cool show. It's truer to the cyberpunk genre and world than the video game in important ways. Like, it doesn't try to paint this amazing picture of like Night City and the cyberpunk world. It's actually dystopian and actually tragic, which is something that was missing with the video game to a certain extent, which is hard to represent in a video game. But yeah, anyways, but there's a character that's caused a little bit of scandal in the. Let me pull it up. Specifically, Rebecca. Rebecca has been accused of being a loli. Studio Trigger refused to redesign Rebecca in Cyberpunk Edgerunners. The loli must stay. Allegedly, this is what they actually told CD Projekt Red when they asked them to redesign her character. Now, I must say, she is not childlike in the show. At no moment watching the show was I like, oh, this is the like weird cringe pedobait Japanese like anime loli stereotype. She's actually an adult woman in a petite cybernetic body. There's no fucking I don't know. No fucking doubt about that in my mind. But regardless, CD Projekt Red wasn't so sure. So apparently one of their devs actually messaged Studio Trigger, and they like asked them, yes, the loli must stay. They asked them to change her design, thinking it was particularly childlike. And their response is, the loli must stay. In fact, now that the show is out, that people like it, it appears both teams are on the same page now, with the dev saying that Rebecca is the best girl, which is honestly pretty fucking based. She is really, really cool. She's a great character. She's the best girl, but I feel a little bit guilty saying it because I was one of the people on the creative team to actually vote Rebecca out of the original cast during pre-production. No spoilers. I've watched it, but yeah, I'm trying to discuss this topic without spoiling it. Yeah, CD Projekt Red first got the character design for Rebecca, and they were like, she's a loli. Lolis don't exist in Night City. It doesn't fit the Cyberpunk 2077 aesthetic. I know, they nailed it. They completely nailed it. If someone has wants to be in that cybernetic body, then obviously in that world they can do it. It's a possibility. There's no reason they wouldn't be able to do it. I really think she was a great character. However, what's interesting is that raised a whole little Twitter drama shitstorm as well. The classic topic of, are lolis okay or not? Is it okay to sexualize, with Xander Hall at the center, is it okay to sexualize lolis or not? Why does it even matter? Well, because I think the topic of can a drawn picture be child pornography? I think that is an interesting topic. It raises a lot of interesting questions. Is exposure to does exposure to loli porn tend to condition you towards being more of a pedo? Does exposure to that kind of pornography, on the contrary, allow pedophiles to satisfy their fantasies without hurting anyone? Why can't people just not be pedophiles? Well, that's not the world we live in. So I do think this is an interesting discussion to be had. And I do have to agree with Xander Hall, and that's why what I was like working towards. I do have to agree with Xander Hall. Rebecca is not a loli in the most like stereotypical basic meaning of the term. She's not underage. She's clearly an adult. Have you ever done a sober stream, brother? I've never done, well, I've done like once or twice a drunk stream. I'm almost always sober. Hey, Ximos, how are you doing? This is first time in chat. Wow. Holy shit. Ximos is like the most amazing person you've ever seen online. It's actually an honor to have you here. So basically, basically from what I can see, a large part of the debate, Ximos is a god, yes. Ximos is also the best Apex player I've ever had the displeasure of playing with. Didn't we have a panel on this? I don't think so, no. So basically the crux of it is pro loli porn people are arguing with Xander Hall on Twitter, saying that Rebecca is acceptable, and she is like, she's not very sexualized in the show, but she does actually, you know, there is actually a scene where she sexualizes herself, and she does actually, well, dress very scantily. And if I go back here, and you can't really tell on this picture, but I can pull up like other pictures. She always wears this coat, but it's clearly open, and it's like clearly open down the middle, and all that shit. Why am I saying this? Because some people are arguing that well, lolis are okay because it's just drawings. Xander Hall is saying they're not okay, but Rebecca is okay because she's not a loli. So it went down this weird like fucking weird like discussion of is it actually a loli or not, which is is not the interesting part of this discussion. But anyways, I honestly tend to be on the part of I struggle to see the harm in drawings on a very fundamental level. On a very, very fundamental level, I find it hard to start regulating what you should be able to draw or not. Obviously, free speech has limits. I don't contest that. What's fundamental? Is okay for what? Just okay? What does that mean? I mean that. Well, that's the biggest assumption, but assuming lowly porn doesn't turn people into pedos who weren't pedos already, then it's a harmless crime. And a harmless crime isn't really a crime now, is it? Obviously, that's a big assumption. But the other assumption is big as well. It's something that hasn't been really clearly studied, to my knowledge. Anyways, let's see. Kino, okay, on another topic. Stealing petty items is pretty harmless. Still a crime? No, it still does harm. You're directly taking someone's property. That's not the right analogy. It's pretty harmless, but it's not actually harmless. A drawing that doesn't, like, if it doesn't cause harm, it's not harming anyone. Like, in a very, very strictly. So I'm right? No, it's literally not the same thing. She invited me to spend the night, but we will be sharing the bedroom with another couple. What are my chances of sex with a couple of strangers sleeping next to me? What are the chances they are swingers? I think the chances that you will have sex are extremely low. Very, very few people engage in group sex, and very, very few people engage in group sex with people they barely know. So, I mean, I wouldn't go in with any expectations. I literally said it's pretty harmless. Yeah, that's what you said. And I'm saying that if like loli porn doesn't actually cause pedophilia, it's absolutely harmless. Not pretty harmless, it's strictly harmless. I think that distinction is pretty important. Like, a small harm, in the case of petty theft, is still a harm. And you could, and probably should, argue in certain situations for leniency when it comes to petty theft, as from the harm reduction perspective. Okay, my contention is that harm should not determine whether something is a crime. Well, I'm telling you, that's not the standard. That's not the standard in your own example. Petty theft still does cause harm. Most indicators for child abuse have nothing to do with sexualization, I believe, so turning adults into pedos doesn't really seem to be a problem. I can't imagine children being psychologically hurt by widespread distribution of erotic material that includes children, though. Possibly. I do have to... I don't know if this is an argument for or against, but I would have to admit that when I was a minor, like around... I think I started hanging out on 4chan around like 15, 16, around that age. And clearly I was attracted to women my age, or girls my age. And the fact that there was a lot of like jailbait porn and that kind of stuff on the site, it was actually what was appealing to me back then. So, yeah, I'd have to think about it. Did the existence of that content harm me? Perhaps. Perhaps not. Harm in your use is too broad. There are also things that are harmful that are not crimes. Well, I'd also posit that that doesn't necessarily even matter, because I'm making a prescriptive statement, not a descriptive statement. So the fact that you can describe things that are not, that don't fit my prescription, my prescriptive framework, just means that I would prescribe those things to be different as well for consistency, unless I found other criterion that would prevail on that. Can pedophiles be virtuous? Have you visited virped.org? I'm saying your prescription is bad, but you're not arguing for it. You're just saying that it's not what is already set up. You haven't made an argument. You've only made descriptions. Okay, I'm definitely on a list now. Harm is a good argument for prohibition. Yeah, it is. Welcome to virtuous pedophiles. No, doesn't mean it has to be the last or only argument. No, it doesn't. But I do think that it has to be, it's probably the most important criteria for whether things should be allowed or not. And I tend to be very like liberal on those things. If you don't harm people, then there's very little reason to prohibit something. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Now, what you could do is describe how we allow a lot of drugs and harmful substances, for example, that we allow them to be legal and are socially accepted, and we accept that harm. So obviously, there are also situations where things can be harmful and we still accept them. Max was mad at them because they wouldn't call pedophilia a mental disorder. Really? That's a weird stance. But I mean, when they say our highest priority is to help pedophiles never abuse children, right, I'm hiding it. That is virtuous. I don't hate on that. Sure, you know of the thought experiment of the Ring of Genius? No. Ring of Genius? I'm not sure about the pronunciation. Oh, the Ring of Gygus, rather. Let's see. A hypothetical magic ring in book 2 of his Republic. Wait, I read that. I don't remember the ring, but I read it, the Republic entirely. Grants its owner the power to become invisible at will. Through the device of the ring, this section of the Republic considers whether a rational, intelligent person who has no need to fear negative consequences for committing an injustice would nevertheless act justly. Well, so I think I see where you're coming at with this, though you should elaborate in case I misunderstand. Peeks into the stream. Welcome to Virtuous Pedos. Turns 360 degrees and walks back out. Hey, Outcast, how are you doing? So, okay. You could, for example, go invisible with the ring. You could go invisible with the ring and spy on people, for example. But I think it's pretty easy to argue that a violation of someone's privacy without their consent is actually causing them harm, even if they aren't aware of it, and even if you do nothing with with the privacy you violated, what you've observed or what you've listened to, etc., etc. So I don't really see what that changes from that perspective. Plato's original thing about whether someone who has no fear of negative consequences would act unjustly or not has nothing to do with our discussion, since we're not talking about fear of negative consequences of punishment. We're only talking about the harm done to people directly because of your actions, not retaliatory punishment, which is clearly the intent of this thought experiment. Okay, but what if when you enter this ring, there was a door, and behind the door there was a dog? Yes! Dogwarts is purely ethical. Discord, oh god. Alright.
I did it. Okay.
Yes.
So, you're invisible, and you're
Yes.
spying on somebody.
Yes.
And they have no idea that you are being spied on. How is their harm being done?
You're violating their
What is the
their
harm?
privacy?
Okay,
Your
but
your
privacy
privacy is
has no. That's not like they have no idea that their privacy is being harmed. So they don't
yes.
feel harmed. They don't know that they are. They can't do anything about it.
You can be harmed without being aware of it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I guess from like the meta in a meta understanding of like what is harmful and what is not, like since you are aware of it, but you're breaking the thought experiment and you're going around the problem, which is that you are unaware of the harm being done.
You can never be aware of the harm being done, and it's still a violation of your. I would consider privacy to be an extension of your bodily integrity on a certain level. It's your integrity, your private space was violated. You're unaware of it, and from like going outside of the whole like philosophical level discussion, on a very pragmatic level, someone can absolutely cause you a lot of harm. Having like say they're spying on you, they're invisible, they're in your house, they're spying on you. They acquire information that that allows them to say ruin your career, and they like message your boss. You get fired for no reason because you're in like a state where they don't have to justify it, or they make something up. You will never know that you got harmed by this person, yet they still harmed you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it would be a crime.
Sure, but that's not. Oh, right, because we're talking about. I'm sure that doesn't matter. We're that actually.
Okay, I am arguing against you that the standard for what is a crime or not, your prescription, that standard is what makes a crime is horseshit.
No, my standard is not that it's horseshit. It's that it's harm. If you don't harm someone, I struggle to see why something should be a crime.
You understood what I said. I'm saying that it's horseshit.
Yeah, but
I'm saying that your prescription is
you're not
bad.
argumenting it. You're just saying it.
Yes, and I put forward the Ring of Geigi's arguments.
Yeah, and I addressed it by saying that
you're deflecting.
No, I'm not. What? How can you say that my privacy, the what I expose in whether it's my my naked body or what my private conversations, my private actions, those are things that are part of who I am. And it is my right to choose to expose those things or not. That is within my within the scope of my consent. Violating that consent, whether I realize it's being done or not, is a harm done to me.
Yeah, it is. If you're aware of it.
I don't have to be aware of it for it to harm me.
Yes, you do.
No, I just gave you an example where it causes harm to me without me being aware of it.
How?
Someone finds information about me by spying on me in ways, information that can say harm my reputation or my career, and then they use that information in covert ways to harm it. I never
okay, so you added you added that it's being used in a way against you. But what if I'm just taking pictures of you, but I'm not doing anything with it? Well, you see, that's
sure.
That's the thing that what you're bringing up is the act, but then you're insinuating that there's another layer to that act. There's a second act, and that's what's harmful. Not
yes,
the actual
in the thought experiment, you are correct. If nothing, it's like similar to the tree falling in the forest. No one's there to hear it, right? If there are actually no consequences to that spying ever, the person spying, they fucking forget everything that happened. Their recordings never get seen by anyone else, etc., etc. Then yes, you're absolutely correct. Now, back in the real world, that's not how those things work. Someone actually having access to your privacy. Okay, so now you're deflecting
away from the thought experiment. Okay, so the whole point of the thought experiment, of what
Was it Socrates or Plato? Whatever. Okay.
Plato.
What they're trying to convince the other person. Well, Plato wrote about Socrates. Socrates never wrote his own stuff.
Socrates, we don't even know if he existed, but yeah, sure, whatever.
maybe that too. Okay, but the whole point is that somebody was in the book. Somebody brought up that like to do harm unto others is just to do harm unto enemies is justice, and to help your friends is also justice.
Mhm.
And so then he brings up this thought experiment in which it proves, or he convinces them that no, harm and not harm, helping and harming is not the standard in which what is just, in which what like ought to be crimes. And I'm trying to do the same thing. Okay, so we've established that harming, there things could be harmless but could still be crimes, right?
Well, the thing is, you call it deflection, but we do live outside of thought experiments. The reality is when someone does violate your privacy, they do acquire power to do harm to you. That is literally the issue with privacy on a fundamental level.
Sure. Where are you going with this?
I'm going with this that
I
the
think, like,
expectation
you're
of
branching off
privacy.
into something else. You're not actually
No,
addressing what I'm saying.
the expectation of privacy is important there because of potential harm. So the fact that someone has access to the ring of Gygas and can spy on you, if in the thought experiment, like you're saying, I'm adding something to the thought experiment. I'm saying that adding to the thought experiment that nothing will ever happen because of what that person has done with their like spying or whatever is also adding something that has nothing to do with the physical material reality we live in. The difference there is that you're eliminating the process through which harm can be done with the ring. So in fact, we go back to the concept of harm, even with this example.
Well, okay, so you use the phrase potential harm. I could work with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is harm being done with potential harm?
Is harm being done with potential harm?
Yes.
No.
Okay, good. But potential harm
it depends,
could be,
obviously,
but you have agreed that potential harm is still a bad thing, and that's why we outlaw it.
Depending on situations, yeah. Certain risks we accept,
Okay,
and others
so
we
then
don't.
therefore harm is not the standard in which what is a crime and what isn't a crime.
Strictly speaking, well, this is like weird semantic games. If potential
Well, yeah, I
harm
had to
is
go
also
through this route because of you.
if potential harm is important, then harm is still the central concept. But in a strict sense, then yes, it's not just if it causes harm, but the risk of harm also is an important factor. So in that sense,
that's
I would
yes.
in that distinction,
Yes.
I would agree with you. Yes.
Okay. So then we're going back to the main topic, which is about like child pornography or like child animations,
Mhm.
and like whether or not that should be or shouldn't be sexualized. And so then like even if it doesn't cause any harm, then it still could be a crime, right?
Yeah, well, that's why I posited. I did qualify every time I stated that. I did qualify it with if it's shown that it's not it's not something that leads to sexual violence against children.
Okay. That
So
to me just
I
screamed,
eliminated
that to me
the
just
potential
screamed,
harm.
you just repeated yourself into saying that if it's harmless, then it's good, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, I specified the way in which I could see it causing harm.
Yeah.
And then I said that
But you're
if
still
that path,
using the standard of harm as to whether or not it's good or bad.
potential harm, if you prefer to call it that in this case.
Okay. So you actually have no idea whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
But you're
That's why I
still
qualified my
setting the
statement.
standard on harm, making it good or bad.
With a
But
qualified
we
statement.
just went over a line of dialogue in which even though something is harmless, it could still be something that
No,
we
it was
perceive
something
as
we both
bad.
agreed it was something with potential harm, and this is also something with potential harm or not. With my qualified statement, I eliminated the potential
you should look
harm.
this up by yourself. But when I googled it,
Just
there was
yeah.
no evidence suggested that like child pornography or that or like animations of sexualized children does like cause somebody who is like not a pedophile to then become a pedophile.
I
Nor
know.
does it like urge pedophiles in order to like do more
I
pedophilic acts.
I know but this is also generally a poorly researched topic to my best knowledge. So that's why I felt that it was important to qualify the statement, and I grounded my
Oh my god, you're being
framework
like CNN.
in the question of harm.
You're being CNN. You're like taking the both sides of everything. Nothing is certain, and so we have to be super open-minded.
Yeah, on a topic where people like no one can fucking agree on that topic. Yeah, like what do you want me to say? I haven't studied it.
Oh, you moderate. You're being a fence sitter again. Typical Naaman. Oh yo yo.
Okay, something to contribute.
Let's see. Well, we went through that. Yeah. Okay. I feel so unsatisfied. I don't feel satisfied from this conversation.
Well, what did you
think you've
want?
just been
What okay?
deflecting.
What did you try to convince me of there? Because
Do I have to repeat myself? Have you not been listening?
yes, I have, but
I
you
stated.
saying
Okay. So what was I trying to do? I feel like this was
oh
for nothing.
god. You tried to convince me that harm is a poor framework for what should or shouldn't be accepted in society.
Sure. Do you think the victim's always right?
What?
Do you think the victim
What
is
does that
always right?
statement even mean? The victim's always right.
Sure. So, say somebody accuses another person of sexual assault, and they feel harmed. They've gone through mental breakdowns. They've gone to therapy. They've had to make incredible expenses in order to deal with their mental health.
Okay, so I see. Okay, so someone got
Okay.
harmed, felt harm.
But
Okay,
the sexual assault didn't happen.
okay, yeah, I get it.
Or they were accusing somebody that was not the actual assaulter.
Sure. Well, then clearly they're wrong in that example. Yeah.
Even though they were harmed.
We were talking about whether general actions.
But they believe.
We're not talking
that
about
it was the
specific
other
cases.
person. If they
But sure,
Sure,
yeah,
but we're extrapolating the specific case. It's a case study. Treat it as a case
a
study.
hypothetical case. I understand.
No,
So
it's not just a hypothetical case study. This happens all the time.
yeah, sure.
This is real life.
So the thing is, so there's like two hypotheticals there. I'm gonna say hypothetical because we don't have like a physical case on hand. Whatever. In one case, they falsely accused the wrong person, but they still got harmed. So a crime, like within my framework, was still committed against them. They just got confused in their testimony or misidentified the attacker, but they still were actually harmed, and a crime was actually committed against them. Whether it's in the real world's framework or the framework I prescribe. Then in the other case, where they make a completely false accusation and nothing actually happened to them, then no, there was even though they went through the motions of having been harmed, the way you described them, there was no actual harm being done to them.
Mm-hmm. What if they
did it to themselves? You could even argue, but no one else did it to them. in the sense that they like actually experienced it within their own perception of reality, because like in that sense.
Yeah.
Then their like brain neurology did it to them, but I mean that at that point you're outside of that is where you kind of leave the realm of the criminal of like criminality and justice ethics, and you kind of just have to deal with psychiatry, and like that's what that person has to deal with. There's no one caused that harm, right? Not even the person to themselves, since it's a sickness, it's something they suffer from. There was harm, but it's the same as if you asked me if someone has cancer and they're dying of it. Sure, they are undergoing harm, but there is nothing that has nothing to do with the criminal justice system or like ethics, right? They just have cancer or they just have schizophrenia. Until they make false accusations, obviously, but then that should be dealt with appropriately with an investigation and all that.
Yeah. Okay. That still, I don't think, addresses the fact that harm is being done, but then how do we then categorize that harm into whether or not something is a crime or not? Because it is being done. There is harm going on, and yet we say that this is not a crime. This does not fall under the purview of the criminal justice system, right?
Well, the first case where there was a crime, well, there was someone having caused the harm, but the accusation falls on the wrong person. That is completely under the purview of the criminal justice system, right? But in the case of the schizophrenic, yeah, no, that is not. Apart from like the investigating the claim and then finding out that it's wrong, there is nothing else that the justice system can do. So you're right. I definitely have to revise the framework. Not all harm, and that's kind of what I just said before with the like talking about the cancer patient. Not all harm is like needs to lead to a social prescription or like like a social prescription.
Yeah, and then if on your point of like going back to reality, is that like in France and also the United States, we have like a justice system that is more close to like what is constructed under like rational thought, but in other cases in society, in other societies, as well as in history, what is good and bad is more so like it could be religious, and it could have nothing to do with harm, but it could be under like what does God say is good or bad.
Yeah, there are
Right.
other frameworks for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and so then we have to like also be really careful of this is my last point. We have to be really careful of how do we construct our idea of justice, because we may think that it's not dogmatic, but there could be elements of it. And it could relate back to, okay, well, if something is harmful or not, like that could also be dogmatic. And it could also, we could also run into a lot of contradictions, and we could actually like do a lot more harm than
Sure.
good by understanding criminal justice within that framework.
And I do appreciate this discussion because it has allowed me to like I guess refine what I was talking about. You're bringing up like those like good thought experiments, and especially since it's making me realize I do generally associate, and I do still find this consistent in the sense that I do still find harm being like a fundamental metric of whether something is good or bad. It's just that with the like final thought experiments, and I hope this will be satisfactory to you. I like with the schizophrenic or say like a cancer patient, etc. Those are still bad things, and I would explain them being bad as in that they are harmful to the person themselves, the people, the close people around them, etc. It's just that those are harms that are not under the purview of the criminal justice system. Those are harms that are under a medical purview, right?
Yeah, and like we would say that what is harming the person is the psychology. Like what is harming the person is a disease. Like we can't sue cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be funny if we put cancer in front of a judge.
Yes.
And it gavelled down. We had a jury in order to yeah. So even though harm is being done by like those nouns, we can't. Exactly. It doesn't affect them. The criminal justice system doesn't affect them. There was another thing, but I forgot.
So just to elaborate, after this discussion, I would rephrase it. I would say that I believe that what is criminal should be that which is harm done to people by other people. You could have it with intent, without intent. You would probably judge those things differently, whether there was intent to harm or whether it was an accident. But you still have
like attempted murder is still a crime, we would say.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Even
there
though
was
like
intent
the
to harm.
consequences, nothing actually happened, but like hey, that's still like pretty fucked up.
Or similarly, like, well, I guess this goes back more to like the potential harm concept, like recklessly driving and then killing someone. There obviously was no intent to kill someone, but you took risks that led to someone's harm.
Yeah. Oh shoot, this is like the obvious example. So like if I shot a gun in the middle of nowhere, it hits nobody. It's like harmless, but we'll still say it's fucked up because you could have caused it, right? You could have actually caused harm.
Yeah.
I do think though that something causing harm is a good argument for whether or not that thing is a crime. My problem specifically is when people say if something is harmless, then it shouldn't be a crime. Obviously, we want to like alleviate as much harm as possible from people. So if something is harmful, then we can say, I think this is correct to say, that should be a crime because it is harmful.
Mm-hmm.
But the opposite, I think, is not true, in that if something is harmless, therefore it is not a crime.
Well, the thing is, like what I was saying earlier before you hopped on, I'm willing to entertain that idea, but I can't think of an counterexample, like counterfactual of something that is actually harmless without any potential harm. Because I would like, but it's good that we made that distinction. But I would like, just to simplify things, I'm lumping it within harm, something that has no potential harm, no direct harm, and that I would still prescribe to be wrong to do. I can't think of something like that.
Well, you could lump it in together, but you can't say they're the same thing.
Sure, yeah, of course. I'm just lumping it for expediency in the discussion. Like, it's something that has no potential harm, and no direct harm. Why should that ever be prohibited?
Well, it could also be out of fairness. That's another metric in which our societies determine whether or not something is just or not just. Even though it's like not causing any physical harm or like financial harm, but it's more kind of like the emotional harm of, hey, I'm like in this match, I'm like in this competition with somebody. It's like, oh, this kind of goes back to trans women in sports. Is that fair or not? And like the law surrounding it, and like what is ethical.
Well, the weird thing there is usually, my understanding is those discussions mostly apply to contests which actually do have financial repercussions, right? Like a lot of the discussions concerning transports, at least at least those I've seen. I know there's like some more extreme positions on both sides of the issue, but those I've seen, usually it's like the people actually only care about the big financially important contests. They don't care that much. Like if like prepubescent kids are like competing across all genders, that doesn't actually matter that much. But I do get what you're saying though. In general, there is a concept of fairness, and you would like the teacher will try to balance, or the kids will try to balance out the teams so that to have a as close to a fair contest as possible. Even if some players are better than others, you have like the best player on one team and a couple like good players on the other team to balance it out, stuff like that, right? But that's like that. Fuck. That does lead to prescription, but then you're gonna hate me. Wouldn't the breach of fairness be be a harm caused to the people?
Would breach of fairness be a harm caused? Elaborate.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't actually like really believe
no,
that. But
hit me.
yeah, no, I don't like 100% believe that. But what's your answer to that? I want to hear it.
That you're just taking it to the extreme, and that it's an argument that like that something contradicts itself isn't really an argument. So like, you've probably heard this, where there are people who say that there's no objective truth, and then the response to that, the cringe response to that is, well, you saying that there's no objective truth means that there is an objective truth. There's one objective truth, and that there's no objective truth, and so you're contradicting yourself, and therefore you're wrong.
Okay, I don't see how that has to do with like fairness.
Where you're, I think what you're doing is the same thing, no? Unless I'm misunderstanding.
I know the way I was understanding making that argument was that
is, like, something being fair is unfair in of itself.
No. What I was trying to say is that if you allow a situation to be unfair, so say in a competition, in a friendly competition, there's no money, no whatever. If you allow things to be unfair in a friendly competition, I guess I was like going towards emotional harm against the other person on a certain level. I think that's what I was going towards. To which, Mike, if I was in your shoes, the counter argument to that, I think, is that at that point, like you might extend it that far, but it starts to really, really dilute the meaning of harm to a pretty extreme level. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
I lost you in the middle, where you said that in a friendly competition.
Yes, a friendly competition.
Fairness, okay, and emotional harm.
Yeah,
connect those two.
Okay, so if you're if you're in a friendly competition and someone's like the biggest fucking tryhard you've ever seen, he pulls all the stops and he like BMs you, he's like the most insufferable winner you've ever fought against, and he absolutely destroys you. A lot of people would feel really, really fucking bad after that, and that could be described as having caused harm to the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like pushing that in that direction, and then I gave the counter argument, which is that after all this discussion about about harm, that is like really, really pushing the limits of everything that harm should encompass by including like
that's right.
Feeling really frustrated at someone that's going too far, right?
There's no law. It's not a crime to make someone feel like a sore loser.
Yes, exactly.
And so then, even though harm is being done in a way, we still say that it's fine because that's the nature of competition.
Well, actually, there are actually quite a few sports there are quite a few sports with like rules for over BMing people, right? So obviously it's not law, but the institutions regulating those sports see it as important for their image, for the like message they send out to people, to young people practicing the sport, of like fairness and properly treating the people you compete with. So there definitely is a precedent for that kind of prescription in those fields.
Well, yeah, and there are cases in which you can't like be overly bad-mannered. Like there's a certain level in which it is, if you breach it, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
So then at the end of the day, okay, I've accomplished what I've done.
Yes.
Harm is not the holy standard in which we should determine what is criminal and criminal.
Yes. There are there is
Plato.
non-criminal harm. There which I think was the most important distinction there. Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm out.
All right. Thanks for the convo.
talking.
I love you.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
I'll do this.
Wait, before you leave, everyone, the person I'm talking to is Jay Chow live on Twitch, and also, hey, I even have a YouTube viewer. You can go check out his YouTube channel. He does politics, mostly foreign relations. He's a really cool. You do your thing, okay? Actually, I'm looking up your link, and you can.
Okay, I'm having a quarter life identity crisis.
Uh-oh.
I'm mainly playing games now, and I'm mainly uploading gaming, but I'm still uploading politics. I'll also talk about politics as well, only to a couple of people. Well, Yo-Yo is one of them because we have a history between one another. I used to be a regular member on the every Thursday panel, Praxis. I hope that's going well for you guys. And
Yep.
it's always a delight to talk to Oyoyo about anything really. And God, I can't believe you're talking about like this discourse and like from Xander Hall. It's like,
Why,
are
dude?
you that desperate? He's a fucking nobody.
I just stumbled on it,
It's coming
and
from me.
it's because it's this TV show. I binged Cyberpunk over the past 2 days, so
Yeah, I still
it
need to
was like
finish it.
topical.
I plan on watching with friends. But yeah, the lolly stays. It must stay, no matter what.
Yes, I absolutely agree, and I'm glad they didn't. Like, you'll make your own opinion. We can talk about it once you finished watching it. But I really like Rebecca's character. She's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. All right. Oh yeah, your chat is cringe. Okay. Like
Chat is
yo,
always cringe. Okay.
If your streamer is talking to somebody and like they accepted the call, then like just deal with it. If you don't like the content, leave. Okay, you know what? If
Dude,
you gotta be salty about it, go ahead. Like that's your own agency. You could determine that, but like it's just cringe. It's just stupid.
Have you never
Like, what are you
seen like
doing?
any streamers chat when they're debating someone? It's like 90% that, right? Like whenever like Destiny disagreeing with someone is like a bunch of people he's so fucking stupid, like shit posting constantly, or like anyone else. I don't know. I've never seen a
I don't want to
well-behaved chat.
evangelize anybody, but it's so childish. Like, oh my god, just deal with the conversation. God. Okay.
Wiener. All right. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
See you. Bye. All right, that was nice. WZ, sorry, I haven't addressed your messages. Childish is what you are. Why? Oh no, you're talking to the guy I was talking to. Piece of shit, chat. I love you too, Jake Chow. Alright, so what are we saying? WZ, competition creates harm. Yeah, I see what you mean with like competition creates harm. Competition creates hierarchies, or is rather what I would say. I think competition creates hierarchies, and you can definitely argue that hierarchies create harm. That's what like anarchists argue to a certain extent. I don't actually believe that. I think there are wholesome hierarchies. I think there are hierarchies that that help us grow as human beings, that help us learn from people who know better than us, that help us like develop ourselves. It goes back to that fucking Andrew Tate clip I was watching the other day, like last week, where literally he's like, not everyone should be a leader. He gives himself as an example of not everyone. He like completely leaves this whole like super alpha male approach. He's like, I spent 11 years following my coach's words as if he was God. And it's like, yeah, that's, you know what? That's how they talk to anyone who's at the top of their field. That's usually how they got there. Is harm avoidance something that you value? It's something, so it's also like different scopes, right? I tend to be very utilitarian, WZ, but I think harm avoidance is something that I value on a societal level, not on an individual level. I think it's very, very important when having those discussions to frame like the scope. That's why, like with Chow right now, I don't know when you tuned into the convo, but like at the beginning of the convo, I was qualifying a lot of my statements with like this. Okay, like here we're in the thought experiment. Here we're in the like pragmatic physical world. Hello from Italy. Hello. Pronto. Sorry, I know like 2 words in Italian. How are you doing? We're currently discussing, well, like in the title, I just finished the discussion with Chow, so I should change the title, but we're still talking about harm and the like philosophy of harm avoidance and such and such. Ciao bella, si. So harm avoidance is something I value on a societal level, like the government and the I believe the government, the law, the systems in place should seek to reduce harm, not avoid harm, should seek to reduce harm. It's rather, I would prefer to say harm reduction, but on an individual level, on like in the scope of my life, I think I grow from challenging myself. I think I grow from challenging my comfort zone. I think most people do, as long as you find a balance within it. It's normal to have coping mechanisms. It's normal to have a comfort zone and a safe zone, but it's also really important not to like keep hugging yourself. If all you do in your life is hugging yourself and making yourself comfortable, you are actually harming yourself. Even though it doesn't feel like it, you actually are harming yourself. And doing the things that make you feel uncomfortable, that make you feel bad, can very often actually be the things that make you grow and make you feel better long-term as a person. So there's definitely a lot of nuance there once you dive into your life as an individual person and your yes, I seek out pain. Ah, fuck. There's the. Let me When you say that, all I can think of is like the gotchi memes. There we go. But basically, where I'm trying to get at is, I think that different advice doesn't necessarily work for different people. So, like UWZ were saying earlier, what was it? Humans are anti-fragile. We must be exposed to harm and hardship in order to become more resilient and face more serious harm or hardship into the future. That, I think, is really good advice for some people and really bad advice for other people. It really just depends on your life situation, your mental state, what you're dealing with, right? There are people who need comfort at a specific moment in their life, and there are other people who need to be challenged. It really just depends. You can't really make generalizations for all people. You need to have a discussion with someone to figure out what they where they're at in their lives. What is your chess elo? I'm dog shit at chess. I think I'm like I haven't actually played enough to like have a real elo, but I'm probably like, I don't know. I actually don't know. I just like fuck around from time to time. I played a lot of Go. I haven't played in a while, but when I was playing Go regularly, I was around like 5 to 1 Q. And recently, unlike KGS or OGS, and recently when I've played it again, I was around like 10 Q. or like 15 to 10Q. Probably could climb back really pretty fast. Probably around 1,000. Yeah, Scoopster has played me in chess, so he would know, and he's like much higher rated than I would ever be if I didn't practice. Those who cannot grow through exposure to harm and hardship must be removed. I disagree with that, okay? Plenty of people cannot deal with harm in a specific situation, but are still amazing people who will do amazing things in their lives. Once again, all that shit's very situational. You sound like you would like support eugenics almost. I used to be addicted to video games. I realized that it was an unhealthy and unproductive use of my time, and I decided the only game I can play is chess. Hey, whatever floats your boat. Good for you. I would argue, fuck, I've had this problem with books personally. Like a lot of people, not fantasize, lionize. A lot of people lionize books as this like be all end all of the best way to cultivate yourself and to cultivate your time. And I grew up with that. I've always been like a huge nerd and reading a lot of books, and everyone around me was like, "Wow, so awesome to see like a kid reading books during recess and whatever the shit." And I was like, I realized as an adult at some point that if I'm and this isn't to say that like you should only read self-help books or whatever, but if all I'm reading is like fucking Tolkien and fantasy books and like Song of Ice and Fire and all that shit, those are great books. Don't get me wrong. That's like all really good literature. But it's escapism. That's what I'm trying to say. For me, reading books has always been escapism, and too much escape. Going back to this, like, should you be hugging yourself? Shouldn't you be hugging yourself? Too much escape is a bad thing. If all you're doing is escaping reality, then you're just hiding from reality. You're harming yourself. To go back to that term. If you do not support eugenics, then you support dysgenics. Humanity must move in one direction or the other. We should all strive for a more beautiful, intelligent, powerful humanity. It is the only moral position. Well, the thing is, what is beautiful, intelligent, and powerful is actually very situationally dependent. So what made me realize the biggest problem with eugenics was in biology class. We studied the situation that happened with moths in England during the Industrial Revolution. So there is a specific species of moths that usually have white pigment on their wings to camouflage themselves on birch barks. Birch, for those who don't know, is the tree with a white bark. So obviously white on white camouflage. It hides them from the birds that would eat them as predators. However, they have this rare mutation where the pigmentation on their pigmentation on the wings becomes black. Obviously, that's a dysgenic mutation in like purely if we framed it in eugenics terms of that time. Then when the Industrial Revolution happened, the coal pollution covered the birch barks in soot, which meant they were black, which meant that the black pigmentation was suddenly the selected for phenotype, and it actually became what allowed the survival of the species. If all the species only had the white pigmentation phenotype, they would have probably died out during the Industrial Revolution until we came to cleaner ways of burning fossil fuels and less burning fossil fuels, and soot disappeared. We are not moths, we are predator, not prey. That is not true. So a human example is sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease is, in its full expression, is a dysgenic mutation. However, in its half expression, if you only have one of the two alleles, it gives you immunity to malaria, or partial immunity, if I recall correctly. Basically, it's really, really helpful if you live in a malaria zone. It's been eliminated. It's actually been eliminated from the human gene pool several times, and it keeps reoccurring because it gets evolutionarily selected for by giving you better survival against malaria. that is a prime example within the human being, because you're like, we are predator. There are things that predate on us, whether it's parasites, whether it's diseases. It doesn't have to be bigger than us to predate on us. Environmental adaptation is contextually advantageous. This disproves eugenics how again? Because this disproves eugenics as determined by human beings. Human beings looking who don't live in the malaria zone, looking at sickle cell disease, would be thinking, oh, we should eliminate that from our gene pool. Not realizing that things can change, and suddenly you may want that in your gene pool in order to ensure the survival of your species. What I'm saying is we don't have the foresight to understand what kind of alleles and or genetic mutations we should select for. It is in that is an argument against eugenics, because eugenics, the problem there is that you give all the agency to decide the consistency of our gene pool. You give all the agency to human beings, and human beings will make flawed decisions with imperfect information. If the person being the arbiter of what should be in our gene pool was this like perfect omniscient arbiter, then sure, they would arrive at a perfect genetic makeup for our species for perpetuity. Maybe we should start with also I didn't address that because I'm assuming you're not going that far. With classic eugenics, also the big problem is you're literally advocating for harming other human beings, whether it's through sterilization or just outright murder. And that obviously is, well, maybe not obviously to you, but to me that's pretty obviously indefensible. Now, a modern ethical eugenic approach would be gene splicing and gene manipulation. Nowadays, we could actually have ethical eugenics, where we let people who have subpar genetics live out their lives, but we would like manipulate the genetics of their progeny and such and such. That would be a more humane approach, yeah. We don't want to be like the potatoes during the Irish potato famine. Yeah, in general, like there are great arguments for genetic diversity being necessary for the survival of a species. That is just like everything we know about evolution, mutations, genetics, phenotypes, our biology in general points to the fact that genetic diversity is much more valuable than eliminating like niche bad factors. Ethical eugenics is state-assigned girlfriends for everyone who can bench their body weight. That sounds like a /fit meme. I'm sure I'm sure if you post that on /fit, people will love it. That's a good one. So instead you would okay, so instead of disincentivizing procreation, so like harming people you don't want to see procreate, you would incentivize the procreation of some. I don't know. Peter Khan for president. When nuclear winter happens, the neckbeards will be laughing at us for not having enough body fat to stay warm. Sadga. Oh yeah, let's move on. Eugenics, child porn. What other great topics have we not touched upon? Those are obviously hey, getting banned from social media, the speed run, ethical child porn, humane eugenics. Let's fucking go. Baudrillard, the hyper real. Yeah, you mentioned him earlier. I know him by name, like having grown up in France and stuff. He's obviously a name you hear like in class. I don't actually know him. You're making me curious. Like I'll check him out. Sounds like someone. Is there a specific book you would recommend I read? WZ, simulated reality becoming more compelling to many over their physical reality. Yeah, I mean that's clearly the world we're living in. It's the experience we're having right now. I'm on your screen. I'm not really there. I'm a virtual existence to you, right? All right. This effect will be eugenic. I know about that. The issue I would have with that statement. Okay, I'm baking in some assumptions on what you're saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying that since people will be fascinated with the virtual reality instead of the physical reality, there will be selection that will, like an evolutionary selection which will privilege the people focused on the physical reality, right? Oh yeah, it was AI generated. I wish. Simulacra and simulation. Simulacre simulation. Okay. Nice. That seems like a very relevant book to read. That could be true. However, the paradox there, WZ, is it's also clear to see that the virtual reality of our world is extremely important to the very like fundamentals of, if we're going like super, evolutionary sexuality and shit, the virtual reality of this world is actually super important to everything that we consider the physical reality. So like a lot of the highest paying jobs, a lot of the most powerful positions in society are intrinsically tied to the virtual reality, to the like computing technologies and online technology specifically. So like really the virtual. Now, if you presume a big paradigm shift, like say like apocalyptic scenario, all that falls apart clearly. And then like the people who are focused on the physical reality obviously become the dominant people. But in the current paradigm, it just is the best way to acquire power in this world. It's to become a fucking techie and do the like whole tech startup adventure and become obscenely rich that way. At least in the Western world. For a lot of people, obviously not for everyone, but you're getting where I'm coming with that. Read Symbolic Exchange and Death. God damn it! You guys are gonna make me like read 1,000 pages of philosophy. Jesus Christ, nerds. Dude, why can't I modify? Okay, there's something fucked with the OBS. I can't modify my Twitch stream title here. Or did I just like not validate it? Okay. Let's go into some memes. Okay, there we go. It's updated. Norbert Wiener warned us against this. Who is he? Who is that? I think a small minority of highly visible technological celebrities will have high status that might convert to actual sexual success. You don't have to be in that small minority. I mean, dude, if you're I work in the I have worked as a software engineer for 4 years, and I got more career progress in those 4 years, like better salary, better material conditions, better material means in those 4 years than I did in years of working as a sound engineer and as a musician. Obviously, when it came to, appearing as this like hot, exciting person on dating apps, maybe a bit less of that, but when it comes to being able to afford like vacations and awesome dates and all those kinds of things, I was much closer to the top of the world when it comes to just like, if we're looking at it in this very, very like manipulative, pragmatic game type of way, I was able to do whatever the fuck I wanted on a material level. But in general, those who will be having children will be those who participate in the physical world. Oh, if that's what you're talking about, yeah, there definitely is this weird thing And that's kind of what they show. They talk about in like the movies Idiocracy and a couple other movies, right? Where the highly educated people who are living in this in what you're like calling the hyper real or the virtual are the people who actually don't reproduce as much, whereas the people who do live in the physical reality are those who reproduce more. But it's also very socioeconomic status and material conditions. I tend to tie it more to socioeconomic material conditions, but you're right that there is a big correlation with virtuality along those socioeconomic lines as well. Or at least I would agree with that. I like symbolic exchange better because everything is in it, but it's still a coherent argumentation, whereas simulacra is a collection of essays. Okay. Now that Oyo is a streamer, he has the best of both worlds, GigaChat. That's not actually true. Those with PhDs are above replacement rate. Wait, really? I thought, damn. Wait, let's look it up. I'm spreading fake news. Damn. Let's see. Who the fuck is Norbert Wiener? Let's ignore him for now. What if I just Google those words? PhD replacement rate. Oh, no, that's like the failure rate of PhDs. PhD birth rate. Women with PhDs buck the trend towards a baby bust from 2015. More women find room for babies and advanced degrees. Interesting. The economic distress of the Great Recession led to a dip in childbearing among American women, a baby bust. Oh, yeah. So this 1994 graph, that's what like I had in mind, right? This kind of a situation where from the least educated are those who have the most or the most likely to have children in this specific statistic. And you clearly see how like the higher education the women had, the less likely they were to even have children. However, this graph is still roughly true until the master's degree. Basically between like all higher education, between 19, 22, and 20%, it's roughly the same. So, yeah. Highly intelligent religious people are having children. I imagine it correlates strongly with religion. That would make sense. From just like a societal perspective. This drop in childlessness may seem to be at odds with other fertility reports, noting a recent decline in births, but the Pew study said those reports examined fertility only at one point in time, not cumulatively over a woman's lifetime, and failed to take into account a later age of childbearing. Ooh, interesting. Which makes sense as well. Oh, and this is a good one, considering our topic of discussion. Among highly educated moms, families are getting bigger. Percent of mothers ages 40 to 44 with a postgraduate degree with 1 child, 2 children, 50%. Interesting. So like in 1994, only 28% had only 1 child, and then 72% had 2 children or more. And then 2014, there is like 5% that moved over to the 3 or more children, actually. Interesting. Well, Idiocracy is fake. You got it here. I've never actually watched that movie. Norbert Wiener was Baudrillard's boogeyman, even though they had the same concerns about the future and the same criticisms of modernity. Interesting. Norbert Wiener is the father of cybernetics. I see. Who made that robot racist? Dude, I need to listen to that song. Or, like, video. Who made that robot racist? Can you, Fuck, I don't know how to find that, that clip. Oh, you did say he was on 4chan, Monkaz. Idiocracy is real, but there's an X factor of this religious intellectual elite that is also not going away. Yeah, I'd have to. It would be interesting to cross-reference it with the religious stuff. There you go. Yeah, it's this one.
Who said the robot can't say nigga? Who gave the AI the pass? I know the robot not black. I can
Who gave the AI the pass?
tell by the way that he dance. I wonder if the AI
Wait, what was
who
the
gave
line
the
after?
AI the pass. I know the robot not black. I can tell by the way that he dance. I wonder if the AI
I know that robot ain't black. I can tell by the way he can dance. Oh shit.
I say nigga around his friend. We cannot let robots say nigga in any form. We let robots say nigga, that's how robotic racism's born. Siri does not say nigga. Alexa does not say nigga. Why the hell does F in Mecca say nigga? That robot.
This is actually making me want to try it. I want to try making Siri say the N-word now. That's gonna, like, if I'm really fucking bored in the next couple of days, I want to think back to this moment and be like, okay, that's what I'm doing for the next 20 minutes.
Robot is not a Negro. He's made of ones and zeros. He look like a hype beast, Marvel superhero. He look Chinese or Latino. A nightmare made by Nego. Think he dressed up like Amigo. Look like a limited edition bag of Doritos. That's one untasteful robot. I think he's one racist robot. I think he should go make some K-pop. How do I rob a robot? How did they
Those lines are so fucking good. Yeah, it's just a loop.
Oh.
Don't Google drill corn.
program
They're Googling
him
it
to
off
say
screen.
that? Or did he decide to say that? No AI should say that. Robots might bring slaves back. Who made the robot racist? Who said that he could say look like a Fortnite skin but basic? Look like he's subway surfing daily.
Okay, I Google it, and don't Google it. It's not a good idea. Yeah, it hurts. Okay. What's next on the list? Alright, let's see if this see how long this video is. 20 minutes. Gideon went to the most racist town in America. Can we go back to fishing? We are fishing for memes. Let me hide my Discord. Alright, anyways, WC, thanks for the discussion though. I appreciated it as well. I like discussing things. Scientist paper, robot racist. Some other racist robot. There's been a million of them at this point. Like the Taybot was the Twitter one. Made by Microsoft. Yeah, there was like, and it like was built off of it was built off of all the tweets that were being tweeted. And allegedly, yeah, according to Microsoft, this bot was oh yeah, the trolls managed to like make the bot be racist because it was based off of the interactions it had with other people. So yeah. Anyways, it's not too hard. I mean, AIs are pretty fucking simple when it comes to that. You put an input and you get an output, and if the input is you know, racism, then the output will be racism as well. It's not a... Let me see what... Fuck, I should have checked before. I have like a couple things to check out here. It's all 20-minute videos. Okay, let's watch some of this shit. Let's watch the... We went to North Korea to get a haircut. I like that. I'm gonna go get a haircut in North Korea. That sounds like a great way to spend my time.
North Korea, the most dangerous country in the world. Infamous for its bizarre and brutal regime, run by crazy.
Why are the captions in... What the fuck? In I think that's Portuguese. Nah, check my video out. Hey, you got a video to check out? Did you link one? If you did link one, I missed it. Why are the subtitles in Portuguese? I'm so confused. Okay, whatever.
Dictator who won't let anyone in or out. But these guys, they just want a haircut.
This reminds me of like a meme attempt, like an internet meme style attempt at doing the same thing Werner Herzog did in, or was it Werner Herzog? I think it was, right? Werner Herzog, North Korea. He did that volcano documentary, right? Into the Inferno. Yeah, exactly. He like can't post links. Okay. He like Werner Herzog did that thing where he went to North Korea to film a documentary about the volcanoes in there, but he managed to, and it is like an actual documentary about like geology and volcanoes, but then it becomes this deep dive into the problems in North Korean society and the authoritarian regime and all that other stuff. And he like manages to get the footage, he manages to get the interviews, all while being surrounded by the like North Korean handlers and all that shit. It's a brilliant documentary. Really, really good. I highly recommend it. So this feels like they're attempting to do that, right? They're like getting a haircut, but it's probably going to actually be about North Korea. You want me to watch this? This is a quick video. I'll check it out really fast. It seems pretty memey. 1,000 views though. I hope it's not like bannable, but it doesn't seem to be. Okay, yeah, this seems legit. I have to check because someone once did that to me in the YouTube chat, like posting a fucking video, a YouTube video with like 50 views or whatever, some obscure shit, and like 10 seconds in, it was someone with like cock and balls out and just trying to like get me banned off of the platforms.
If Baudrillard is even onto something, what the postmodern trajectory means is that the self is not under siege, it's lost. It's just lost. It's just lost. It's just lost. It's just lost. And if that's true, then all of the strategies by which ordinary people tried to live decent, good lives are lost along with it. I'm not necessarily going to buy that right away. I'm really not. I do think that the new technologies are going to call forth. I mean, this is why the title of this course has been The Self Under Siege. If I didn't,
I have to say, I kind of see where all this shit is coming from, right? The like all the images of the old school, like white American ideal nuclear family and all that shit. I do believe that there is absolutely a big problem in the like postmodern thinking of deconstructing, like you put it, everything that people like, what was the exact phrasing he used? Like everything that people use to be able to live fulfilling and happy lives. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. There is something that is really lost there for a lot of people, and we see it nowadays with the rise in mental illness, with how many people are unhappy with their lives and feeling unsatisfied. But I don't think that means we need to go back to traditionalism. We can replace traditions or change traditions that are problematic to fit our newer values of being more accepting, or of being more understanding, of different lifestyles, different ways of conceiving reality, and all those things, and still build social structures and social norms that will help and support each other to live more fulfilling lives, the same way that traditions had for past millennia. I don't think it's like this binary, either tradition or complete lack of tradition. I think we can have better traditions, basically. We instead of destroying all tradition, we can replace tradition with better things that are going to be lead to better outcomes, right? We talked about it earlier. I believe in harm reduction quite a lot. Our search for authenticity is based upon a technological representation of what is authentic. The sign of authenticity has been replaced with a representation of what is authentic, not that isn't authentic. This is most obvious in our sexuality and how the technological representation of sexuality has destroyed our ability to have an authentic sexual experience. To a certain extent, I would actually agree. I do think you can consume pornography and without having the full brunt of the harm, but I also do think a lot of people are really coping fucking hard on pretending that there can be nothing wrong with pornography, nothing wrong with like going full parasocial for someone on OnlyFans and all that shit. Kids are exposed to porn well before they are exposed to sex. You would argue that is an exposure to sex, right? But yeah, I get what you mean, and that has been my case for sure. So they have an image of what an authentic sexual. Yeah, I agree with you, WZ. Yeah, we need trad porn. Yes, exactly. I would love myself some good old gay trad porn. Anyways, but yeah, I agree with you. But you get where I'm coming from. Like this. Like I wouldn't want people to listen to this and be like, yeah, we have to go back to monkey, go back to tradition, go back to cavemen. You can absolutely acknowledge the truths that are in this video and in the problems with virtuality in our world without throwing away also the good that comes from questioning the social norms that we've taken for granted for hundreds of years.
I didn't think it was a real virulent technological siege and just some thought-up philosopher's dream, this would not have interested me. I mean, I have no interest in that. I mean, what I am interested in is what it's changing the lives of my children and your children and so on. What will shape culture, and what we used to call society, culture and history. That's what I am interested in. If it is the end of the world, I want to know, so my kids and I can enjoy the apocalypse together. If America is utopia realized, then maybe I'll just settle back and go to Epcot Center and forget Switzerland. Just go on the Swiss ride. This may be what
I have no fucking clue what he's talking about. Going on the Swiss ride or Epcot Center.
I doubt it. I don't like it. The war zone, in other words, may not be, in defending the self, may not be any one of the classical ones, like the working class versus the ruling class, the slaves against the masters, oppressed women against a patriarchal society, blacks against whites. No, the struggle in the future may be to maintain the real against the unreal or the high.
This is something that bothers me in general with people who identify problems in society. I agree with his identification of a problem in society, but like people do this. I'm gonna both side. Dude, I'm gonna both side this so fucking hard, it'll feel like I'm double penetrating his argument. He's astutely identified a problem in society, and so now he throws away all other identifications of different problems with society. Like, you can also identify a problem with problems with patriarchy or race relations or like tons of other shit. Just because there is one really, really important problem doesn't mean that there aren't other important problems. That's something that really bothers me sometimes with the way people present their prescriptions for the world, or their like it becomes very absolutist, and that's kind of what I feel with his like comparison. He isn't being absolutist, but there's a bit of an illusion of like all those other problems don't matter. This now is the real problem. It will certainly be difficult for you to understand what he's saying without hearing what he's saying. Yes, that is why I paused the video to respond to what I just listened to.
Real or the irreal. The desire for experience, and this is, I'm trying to kind of be upbeat about the situation that we're in. The experience of desire is also a desire for a kind of experience. What I mean by that is this, that even in these rather you know, the rather hopeless picture I painted of the young, there remains something like a curiosity about what experience would be like if I could have one. And there is an absolute extremism everywhere about how far people will go to try to have a genuine experience. If I can still use the word genuine, you see, because again, the language has been polluted by this very movement that I've been describing. If say genuine, you'll think about a genuine beer, or genuine boots, or a genuine, you know, cowboy hat, or you'll think about a genuine beer, or genuine boots, or
it's not Nazi. It's like an Indian shoe. So it's the Hindu swastika in this context.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, but it's still a pretty funny one. Okay.
Genuine, you know, cowboy hat or whatever. No, a genuine experience, an authentic experience, a real experience. The battle lines may be between anonymous forces that have been unleashed by a technology that grew out of capital, that will be controlled in the hands of not many people, perhaps not. I mean, we don't know. And people who still would like to have some experience.
He's describing the cyberpunk future. What did you want to say? This guy's talking about Baudrillard, and like the he's talking about the what he's calling the technological siege, or what was the self, whatever. Basically that the self identity becomes destroyed with the virtual. I think he's alluding to the virtual and to with how technology is erasing our identity. The music makes me a believer. Yeah, it's like a fucking evangelist vaporwave vibe music.
This wouldn't make them archaic old fuddy-duddies if they said, hey, look, we don't know. And people who still would like to have some experience. This wouldn't make them archaic old fuddy-duddies if they said, hey, look, honey, why not tonight? Why don't we really make love, the two of us, instead of getting in our virtual reality sex machines? That may become a revolutionary move in the near future.
That is literally a very, very common theme in sci-fi. I can't think of the name, but I've seen this like show or or movie a while ago that was like one of the main themes in it, or whatever.
It may be. It may become interesting if a candidate runs for an office and actually believes one thing. Well, that'd be an incredible new politics. You know, everybody.
Wait, that's already reality. Nah, I'm joking. I do think we give politicians a bit of a bad rap when it comes to that shit. They, at least, I mean, there was this Lex Friedman. The Lex Friedman interview we were watching the other day, like last week. No, it wasn't like with the Jordan Peterson, where Jordan Peterson was like talking about his experience talking with politicians on the left and the right, and how they all were people who did have ideals, who actually did want to leave the world a better place. So yeah, and we do tend to shit on politicians perhaps a bit too much on like accusing them of grifting.
America wants a new politics? Well, go out and find somebody that believes one damn thing and run him for something. You'll have a new politics. I mean, that's the deficit of experience that hasn't been sucked into this system of images and so on. Now, this sounds extreme, but think of how we're socialized, all of us. Continually bombarded with images from magazines, TVs, newspapers, videotapes. I'm not unaware of where I am. I'm in the circuit too now. For a moment, follow Baudrillard's advice. He wrote a very cute book called Forget Baudrillard, which meant this stuff is not theoretical, it's happening all around you, so forget Baudrillard.
If you're interested in discovering how and why technology is a much more powerful force than political, economic, social, or even familial values and bonds, please check out our other videos on the subject.
Okay. Interesting. Industrial society and its future. Oh no, that's the fucking manifesto meme. What was it? The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for humanity. Let's go. Oh yeah, the next video is the Unabomber man. Yes, I swear I didn't see it. Okay, I just saw like Industrial Society and its future, and then the next video is Industrial Society and its future. Okay, yeah. Ted Kaczynski. This dude predicted DVDs in the time of VHS. Yes. This dude predicted vaporwave edits on Slavoj Žižek. I have to go back to my physical reality, but thank you for watching that. Thank you for sharing it with me. Have a good time in your physical reality. I approve of this message. Do spend more time in your physical reality. I think this is like the first time you're watching WZ, but it's something that I do actually value a lot. Like I tell people like stop watching me. Go do something. Go do something good in your life. Okay, go talk to someone. Unless if you're just chilling, it's fine. But it's important to go back to the physical world. It actually really is important. He has more and longer videos on Baudrillard that are interesting. All right, I'll you know what? Let's stop. I'll like subscribe to it and check it out. And now for something completely different. Our North Korea documentary, or back to it. Okay, why is it in Portuguese? English.
So, why would we go all the way to North Korea just to get a haircut? Well, to answer that question, we've got to open our history books to page 1.
Oh shit, is this a legit North Korean history book? Oh god.
Korea. Korea spent the first half of the 20th century as a colony of the brutal Japanese Empire. As Japan withdrew after World War II, the Koreans gained independence, elected a socialist government, and things were pretty sweet in Korea. For about 2 months. Cue the big fellas. The guys who had just won World War II decided to move in. So, they randomly divided the country along the 38th parallel, with the south under US control and the north under the Soviet Union. In the communist north, Kim Il-sung continued the land reform of the socialist government, forcing landlords and their sympathizers to flee south. But in the south, things were a little bit trickier. The Americans expelled the socialist government and brought back the Japanese guys that everyone loved so much, and whoever didn't love them was forced to flee north. Fueled by the two competing superpowers, this division led to all-out war in 1950, and, fearing the spread of communism, Uncle Sam and all his buddies went to...
Jesus Christ, can the US, like, not fuck up, a, like, anti-socialist government a single time in their history? Of all people, why would you bring back the fucking Japanese government that was committing, like, crimes against humanity on the people there? Jesus.
Town on the north. So, what do you think, Pretty touching. Tugs at the older heartstring.
No. I told you not to put that in there. You can't just have dead babies in the first minute of the documentary. No one's going to watch it now.
I would have said it's pretty eye-opening.
No, it was stupid. So,
haha.
What do we know about North Korea today? Well, we know for a fact that even saying Kim Jong-un's name will boost your ratings no matter where you are in the world.
Le dictateur nord-coréen Kim Jong-un.
The leader Kim Jong-un.
Wait, really? Wait, let's try it. Let's try it. Is this true? Kim Jong-un in the Twitch title. Update. Awesome. And then let's change it on YouTube too. All right.
Kim Jong.
This North Korean guy never fails to impress.
One of the most dangerous countries in the world.
Hey, if you had a rocket as big as his,
Day
can strike Americans where they live.
Even the school kids are ready for war.
The rogue state
Conducted its fourth nuclear test, threatening a preemptive nuclear attack.
The U.S. is increasingly being held nuclear hostage.
You can
you
see
also have to call him a cutie pie. Yeah.
dead people everywhere on the street.
With torture, rape, forced abortion, and execution.
Wow. That place seems absolutely awful. But surely it's not all bad news. I mean, they do normal stuff too, right?
No, nothing is normal. Not even the boring stuff. Not even haircuts.
New hairstyle that's getting a lot of attention.
Men now have to wear their hair just like their leader.
Under orders to get a Kim Jong-un haircut.
Have to cut their hair a la Kim Jong-un's distinctive hairstyle.
And once again, edgy comedians, TV presenters, and advertisers all band together to make exactly the same joke.
So ask pedestrians, can we own you?
How many haircuts did you get today? You've been doing a fight. Understand how unbelievably weird North Korea is.
We're just going to take a little off the top.
Justin Bieber. Anne Hathaway.
With a ridiculous haircut and nuclear arms.
You're not gonna blow me up.
Anne Hathaway.
So, the only problem here is that the haircut law never existed. If we dig through the sources back to the original argument that started this viral story, we arrive
that
in
makes
Washington,
sense.
D.C. at a news company.
That actually, dude, I'm no tanky. I fucking like North Korea is a shithole. But there is so much disinformation going around. There was this fucking it was Turnet who linked me here. There was this lady who was like who was like someone who escaped from North Korea. She's really against North Korea, and man, all the power to her. Like that's there's plenty of good reasons to be against North Korea. But she had this essay on how love doesn't exist in North Korea. And I'm like, what the fuck am I reading? That's such a weird thing to assert.
Called Radio Free Asia. The original article is based entirely on unnamed sources, quotes plucked out of thin air. But regardless of its unverifiable origin, it gripped international media and everyone was ready to cash in.
It seems an exciting news story comes out of North Korea every month.
The North Korean government has announced that it found a unicorn.
North Korean official was just executed for bad posture, apparently after slouching at a public event.
They have fallen asleep at a meeting. The regime often uses grotesque methods.
He was stripped naked, thrown into a cage, before being eaten alive by 120 starving dogs.
Kim and his brother observed the 1-hour ordeal.
Did you hear that one? The Kim Jong-un abducts squads of girls to pleasure him?
Handpicked based on good looks and measurements.
Holy shit! But did you hear about the time he tried to ban sarcasm?
I want you to know that your ban on sarcasm is a great idea. And by the way, that haircut, amazing.
What the haircut law and all these other amazing stories share in common is that at the very center of this media whirlwind, they're based on absolutely nothing. It starts to feel a little bit peculiar that every month we're bombarded by hundreds of identical copies of a lie, telling us that somewhere out there's a regime that enforces conformity and lies to its people.
But just because these stories can be...
So, you see, this is the thing I don't understand. Like, you don't have to make up that insane shit to make North Korea look bad, right? Right?
...viciously and frantically well around and multiply in popular media doesn't mean everyone believes them. We decide to go test it out.
Though, also, to be fair, like, those guys haven't established anything either. They're saying those are lies, but I mean, where's the... There's no fucking proof that those are lies either. God damn it.
Located in Sydney's inner west, Newtown is a cultural hub for the alternative, progressive, and free-thinking free spirits of the city. The exact opposite of North Korea. This place is the cutting edge of edgy fashion. It's seriously cool. I mean, Coldplay filmed a music video here. We decide to see what the average Newtonian thinks.
Have you heard the news that every man in North Korea is required to get the same haircut as Kim Jong-un?
Have heard the news?
Yeah, something like that. It doesn't surprise me anyway.
Haircuts.
Yeah, like the same haircut that Kim Jong-un has.
You know, that's very old news.
I mean, North Korea is renowned for a lot of bizarre puritanical concepts coming out of there.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah, that's correct.
Read that somewhere. Wouldn't they all look like Kim Jong-un as well? I don't think you'd get mistaken for him everywhere. Yeah.
Especially in North Korea.
Yeah.
What if you want to grow along like me, like, you know? It's the way of life. It's like everyone does it, and it's... I think the law is probably like almost blurred between what the actual ideology is because they're so sort of brainwashed, I guess.
Do you think anything like this could ever be imposed in Australia?
I reckon they'd have a hard time getting it to work in Newtown.
Like, look where we are now.
That is Newtown.
Everyone is so different and unique.
Like Newtown, for instance, you know, where everyone dresses to their own, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Like, spoiler alert, they're gonna go. Spoiler, they're gonna go into North Korea and everyone's dressed differently. Ooh.
Just the nature of our political system and the level of freedom we have as individuals.
There is no real form of self-expression.
Exactly.
You know, take away individuality, really. You know, I would not get the same haircut just because someone else was doing it. Not in Australia.
I would not get the same haircut because someone else is doing it. My man, how do you think fashion works?
It's impossible for me.
How did you decide to grow the beautiful, long, luscious hair?
Thanks. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
People should have the right to
You literally make your fashion choices because of how other people look. Come on. The interviewers and interviews, man buns abound. Yeah, they literally all have the same haircut. They actually all have the same haircut, and this guy is delusional enough to say that he doesn't base his haircut off of what other people look like. Like have some self-awareness.
I agree with that.
How did you decide to grow such long, luscious hair? Your long, luscious hair. Such long, luscious hair. You're long and luscious right now. Beautiful. Oh, thank you.
I mean, I grew up, you know, on the beach pretty much where everybody just had long hair, so it's been like this for years.
I saw you say.
I live in Newtown. What do you think?
It turns out the worldwide North Korean clickbait epidemic is worse than we thought. We have to find out the truth for ourselves. We decided we had to get to the bottom of this once and for all. We have to go to North Korea.
Alex, can you just pretend you're running?
What?
Yeah, I'll put a green screen up. It'll look sick.
You sure?
Yeah, it'll look brilliant. Trust me.
All right. We have to go to North Korea to get a haircut.
Amazing.
And there he was, Alexa, a dirty, disgusting hillbilly. He had a large amount of hair, the majority of which he didn't want. And when he showed the hairdresser a picture of the exact amount of hair he wanted, they got rid of the unwanted hair, just like hairdressers do all over the world. And you know what? I think the North Koreans did a great job.
What the? God damn, that
And
old
when he
photo
showed
of
the
him
hairdresser
is...
a picture of the over the world. And you know what?
Let's see if I can
think the North Koreans...
pause it. Okay, this is not just that his hair is unkempt. He looks like he's been smoking crack for 5 weeks straight without sleeping a single time. And this photo, I think it's the lighting too. Holy shit, this photo is terrible.
Did a great
Obviously
job.
picked on purpose.
So, it turns out the North Koreans get haircuts just like everyone else in the world does. What
Wow.
a exciting adventure, eh? So, where does that leave us now? Well, the nukes are still a problem. North Korea's tested 4 of them, and that's very scary. But imagine how scary it is for them to think that the US alone has tested 1,032 nukes. Even then, we don't really need to test ours, because we know ours work. We've used ours against real people. And you know what? We're not even sorry.
Okay, Okay. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, you can... There can be a debate there, a discussion, but holy I was fucking dreading it. This whole video is just gonna be America bad. America bad! America bad. Actually, North Korea is just defending itself. Oh my god.
What about the news stories about slavery? Yes, it is very confronting to hear stories about slavery in North Korea. But for some reason, it's not quite as confronting to watch these stories on your television or your smartphone, which we know are made by slaves. And if you want to talk about the biggest slave drivers in the world, the only reason you're watching me right now is because you purchased a device, which is made for you by your own personal slave. And you don't even know his name.
Excuse me. Do you know where the laundry detergent is?
Oh yeah, mate. Aisle 7, next to the sponges.
Thank you very much. What about...
Haha, statement about service industry and slavery. Let's go.
I mean, it is pretty disgusting when someone does that to their own people. But at the same time, it's a little bit confusing. I mean, what is a prison camp? Like, we have prisons, sure, but the bad guys always seem to have prison camps. It's as if our prisons are just great places. You serious, Alex? It's as if our prisons are just great places to be. Our prisoners are known to burst into song and dance because, well, the amenities are so great and they get to go home when it gets dark. But the prison camps, oh boy, the prisoners are stuck there. They've got walls and guards and the prisoners get physically and sexually abused. No, prison camp is a useless word. It means nothing. And before you say, no, Alexa, the North Koreans, they put their people in prison for no reason and we don't do that in a democracy. Well, if that's the case, you might need to have a conversation with the Australian Indigenous community, or refugees in detention, or the Black Lives Matter movement in the States. I mean,
oh fuck, he's Australian too. Shit. Shit, the fact that he's Australian does change the conversation a little bit, because they have that like weird Guantanamo thing and in the sea for like illegal immigrants and stuff. But man, still, this is hella triggering. Like this guy's actually like, and the like, okay, I'm gonna talk about the U.S. prison system. I don't actually know what goes on in the Australian one, but let's be U.S. centric. Assume that there's nothing of importance that's different. Okay, I'm probably right about that too, dude. Who gives a shit? Are you actually arguing that a gulag where you're being quite literally sent to die through grueling forced labor is the same as a really, really bad prison? Which, yes, US prisons are really, really fucking bad. And I'm sure Australian prisons are really, really fucking bad too. And French prisons as well. And same, like, arbitrary judiciary decisions, kangaroo courts, are the same as a flawed justice system. Like, it's like those people can't conceive of the fact that there is two things can be bad, but one can be worse than the other. It fucking escapes their two neurons. They can only blink in like good or bad. That's all they can think. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Both bad. Bad, bad, bad. So actually the thing that's bad is actually good. Fuck me.
And these are just examples of people. They can tell you quite a bit about large groups being imprisoned for no reason. So what do we do with this word? Well, we could either start saying that we have prison camps, or just that North Korea has prisons, which isn't much of a news story, is it? I think it would be much more interesting to focus on the country that has the highest prison population per capita, which is America.
To be fair, yeah, we probably could call all prisons prison camps. I actually don't fully disagree with the like semantic argument there, especially in the U.S. where there's forced labor in their prisons as well. Keep in mind, when I talked about forced labor earlier, I said the grueling forced labor that would like cause you to die. Which, you know what? I should actually like also look up shit on that. Anyways, moving on.
What about the bizarre military parades? That's some pretty confronting stuff. But imagine how confronting it is for them that the largest military exercise in the world happens twice a year on their border, where the big scary guys that invaded them in the past practice invading them all over again. But for an organisation like the military, a parade is the cutest thing they can ever do, because when an army isn't busy parading, they're busy killing people in actual wars. And yes, North Korea was in the Korean War, and that sucks. But since then, the US has invaded Guatemala, Egypt, Lebanon, Panama, Vietnam, Dominican Republic, Cambodia, Laos, Angola.
Who? Who asked? This is a video about North Korea, not about the US. Who the fuck asked? Who cares? Yes, America bad. Good point. Jesus Christ. And then the like previous thing, like parades? Are you actually criticizing the fact that a military force does exercises next to a country that has declared itself to be an existential threat to its existence? Well, that's existential threat to its existence is repeating the same phrase. Anyways, yes, North Korea does see South Korea as a threat. I'm absolutely certain of that, but South Korea also sees North Korea as a threat. It's a thing. Except that South Korea doesn't have ambitions of destroying North Korea. The current government, has never declared wanting to fucking invade North Korea. To my knowledge. All right, let's Google that actually. I'm making a lot of statements here. Has South Korea ever wanted to attack North Korea? KI and EU poll results show that most South Koreans don't care about their neighbor across the border. A full 61% of South Koreans said they are not interested in North Korea at all. They don't care. It's not a realistic thing gonna happen. They're not gonna. Did they ever officially end the war? Let's see. North South Korea relations. The two governments were founded in the two regions in 1948. Leading to the consolidation of division, the two countries became opposite and engaged in the Korean War from 1950 to 1953, which ended in an armistice agreement, but without a peace treaty. So it's a really extended armistice agreement. Let's go with that. Oh man, this whole take. People were also comparing the US to Russia and China last year and were like, we are just as oppressed. It's so cringe. Yes, this is the fucking tanky-brained America bad take. It's so cringe. South Korea is definitely not ever attacking North Korea, especially now that it has nukes. Yeah. And but even before there's no reason for them to. Except for the part where North Korea, like, you know, threatens them. America equals bad.
Iran, Libya, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Grenada, Bolivia, Virgin Islands, Philippines.
Alex, running out of space.
What do you mean? I haven't got to the 90s yet.
No, but you literally can't fit in any more countries.
What if I move my head like this?
No, look, you've made your point, just finish it.
Alright. But for some reason, North Korea is a dangerous, unpredictable rogue state, and America's just a normal country.
No, people criticize the US all the time. You're not like a rebel for stating this. You're not this like visionary international relations philosopher who's come up with this incredible thing of like, wow, America did bad things in the 20th century? Really? Wow, I've never heard of them. Jesus Christ.
And to use these words like
rogue state, prisoner camps,
death squad,
instead of just
country, prison,
the military.
And suddenly all the brutal stuff that we do doesn't seem quite as bad. Before you know it.
None of these involve actual US troops except Cuba. No, you don't understand. Anytime a government ever does something bad in the world, it's actually CIA. The CIA is actually the head of every single government in the world, except when they do good things. Then it's not the CIA.
We're trapped in this giant, never-ending NutriBullet commercial.
Juicers make juice, blenders make smoothies, but the NutriBullet makes supercharged superfood NutriBlast.
Death squads. They have death squads over there. So glad our army has nothing to do with death. This supercharged superfood NutriBlast is delicious. Fuck regular juice. It seems like all the scary stuff North Korea does, we do on a much larger scale. But then again, we've got...
Okay, comparing Trump to Kim Jong-un is always a meme. Russia's just invading Ukraine to get rid of the CIA government. Juicers make juice, new XQC dono sound, yeah.
Pretty good excuses for our violence.
We did not want it to come to this, but we have got to bomb those guys. It's about defending democracy. It's a question of basic human rights.
Don't call them slaves.
We get it.
Those workers in the third world, they're just more competitive. They just want it more.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard these excuses before. Come on, buddy. I'm the last guy that wants to throw you in a prison camp. It's just, what am I meant to do? It's the Supreme Leader's word.
Look, mate, I know this doesn't look good, but the Sun God, he really wants your heart.
Okay, I do appreciate the fact that they did point out, you know, gulags. Communism was pretty bad too. So they're not full on, they're not tankies actually. They're just America bad.
We all have a unique way of justifying exploitation and violence. The main difference between North Korea and us is that we're winning. Our violence is the strongest. But in order for this media spectacle of North Korea to work, we've got to see the country as this bizarre, violent, rogue state, as this thing that's so different and such a threat to our peaceful and secure international system. But what this process does is it tries to make you forget that our international system has abused mankind far worse than anything this dictator of that tiny country could ever dream of. So what we need to do is we need to agitate and organise to take down capitalist imperialism once and for all. You know, Vladimir Lenin...
Thank you.
No, I had more.
Thank you, Alexei. You proved your point. It was very enlightening. You can take a seat.
Oh, they actually are tankies.
Let's get...
Okay, no. Oh, they are tankies, but it never was real communism. This is cringe. It's hella cringe.
Some happy music or something. Here we go. Here's something you don't see every day. People having a great time in North Korea. Take it away, girls.
Yeah, people can be happy in totalitarian governments as well. Like, whoop-de-doo. Okay, let me turn off the lights. I'm gonna have to, I swear, nighttime now. Lefty video essays have entirely morphed into fantasy films with costumes and set pieces where America equals bad but for real. Yeah. I expected something better from this video. I started off talking about Werner Herzog, and I'm really disappointed by what I got. This could have been actually so much better. If you're actually traveling to North Korea and getting footage of things and getting to talk to people, there's like, you could make this so much better. But that would require, you know, putting work into the actual documentary work and interviews, then rather than just splicing together a bunch of like meme footage. All right, I'm gonna have to end the stream right now. Let's raid off. Sorry, it's just a short stream for tonight, but I'm keeping Sophie up, and she has work tomorrow. The roast of bad empanada. All right, send you off to ignoring chat. He showed up in my chat earlier. He deserves the raid. So let's go do that. /raid ignoring chat. Boom. Starting the raid. And yeah, have fun with him. I love you. Bye bye. See you.
Before the country's caught.
Oh, I see.
Then it would match up.
That's true. Not really though. Like it would have to be at